Okay, and we are live on Facebook, and also recording our episode 2, week 1 update for conversations with. Live on Facebook, and also recording. I've got volume echo going well. So this week we are going to give our updates. We're going to tell you about one win or one learning that we've had for the week. We are also going to then have an open discussion around, because it's Worldwide Mental Health Day, we're also going to discuss what we do for self-care. And we've broken that down into separate sections to give you what we do, not any expert advice, but it's how we deal with self-care and looking after ourselves. So we're going to just jump straight in and give you those week 1 updates. Now, I'm going to start. So I'm going to step back from giving you my updates on a weekly basis and step back to being a host. You'll have heard my voice far too much across season 1 and the last season. I also haven't started that well within the challenge. So if you want to see how I get on from Monday, even though Pav's telling me tomorrow, then you'll have to follow me on Instagram. And for the rest of everybody else's updates, I'm sure you'll be able to find out how they're getting on Instagram, Facebook, and the JSAM Facebook page. So let's just jump straight in. And first of all, if you haven't been on the podcast, you can give us a quick introduction of your name so our listeners know, and maybe where you come from and any of your challenge goals. But let's jump straight in, and we're going to speak with Secret Veggie or Joe first of all.
I'm Joe. So this week, my main win was going back to work and dealing with the anxiety I had around that by actually taking some proactive steps in terms of managing things before shit hit the fan. So yeah, I'm feeling pleased with that this week.
Brilliant. And I think, for you, Veggie, going back to work was a big step. So yeah, well done. And less hours next week, hopefully. So let's now speak to somebody who wasn't on last week and speak with Nessa.
Hi, yeah, I missed last week, so first showing for me tonight. I'm Nessa. I live just outside Oxford, UK. My main challenge goal is to do 10 of the most evil TRX pikes. I can currently do 0. I'm still at 0. So we'll see how we go. But got some other sub goals in mind, one of which is running a 10K under an hour. And I went out as a test run this morning. So my win for the week is actually that I actually took a wrong turn on a footpath. So I ended up running 15K this morning, which is further than I've ever run in my life. And from a timing perspective, with now 11 weeks ahead of me, it's actually okay. So the 10 of those 15 came in at 1 hour and 4 minutes. So looking okay for my sub goal of an hour, hopefully.
Definitely, you'll smash that. Well done.
Thank you.
And moving on now to our second last season 1 guest, Katie Holly.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having me again. I don't surprised you're not bored of my voice now, Alistair, but yeah, it's my first time on podcast with everyone, so hi everyone. And my challenge goal, very quickly, which is on my Instagram, and if you want to have a look at it, it's to lift 250 kilograms, not with one move, because I'm only 5'2" and I think it would be impossible, but in 3 moves. So I'm looking at a combined deadlift, squat and hip thrust. My win this week was which you've probably all seen, is that I managed to get a hip thrust PB of 100 kilograms. And the main reason why this is a massive win is because some PT back in February told me that I'd never get anywhere on my JSA training program, and that wouldn't change the way I looked, and I was just doing endurance training. So it's a big to him this week. So I got to 100 kilograms. So yeah.
So triple digits. Well done. Yeah, brilliant. That's a really good start. And yeah, up yours as it was. Thank you, Katie. Good to have you back. Judith.
Hi everybody. I think my win was actually today when I decided to start food prepping again. Sort of struggled this week. Yesterday I had a really crap day and I actually tracked all my food. So that today I got up, went and brought all my chicken and did my meals for my lunch and dinner for all of next week. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Brilliant. Good to be organised. Well, moving on to the food prepper of all food preppers. So, Pav.
Hi, you all right? Yeah, so I think my win this week has kind of been able to survive this week without any particular DOMs. So I managed to do my 1,000 burpees. And when I started them last Saturday, I was really kind of daunted by it because I've never done throughout the week, probably 3 different classes at CrossFit. I've probably never done more than 50 at a time. So to actually do 150 for 6 consecutive days and then 100 on my 7th day, it was a massive win and it was a massive kind of confidence boost. So I'm really happy about how the next 11 weeks are looking, and a little pep talk from our Joe as well this morning has really kind of given me a nice little boost, and that you know, an extra bit of confidence going into those remaining 11 weeks.
And Pav assures me they are chest to floor.
I'll send you some stills.
It's good stuff, mate. Well done. And now we're going to go down under again and speak to Emily.
All right. So let's see. One thing I learned this week is I need more sleep. I need to not watch television at night and stay up till all hours because we've been getting up earlier since the sun comes up earlier. So more sleep is definitely needed.
So that is a big one.
Yeah.
At least you've recognised it. Well done.
Yeah.
So now we're going to speak to Rob, who's this is his first time on a podcast. So welcome, Rob.
Thank you. So I'm Rob. I've been with the JSA for about, 3 years, but I haven't really been that involved with it. I think it's my 3rd challenge, although this will hopefully be the first one I complete for various reasons. Positive this week, I am now on day 6 of no smoking. So I'm taking that as a win.
Yeah, massive win. Well done. Good start. What's your challenge goal, Rob?
Oh yeah, so I've kept it simple this time. I've just got to do 36 workouts. I've got 2 in this week. Unfortunately, I was going to train today, but my DOMs are a little too bad at the moment.
No, well, two's in the bag. Well done. And no smoking. Keep it going. That's coming from a smoker doesn't really help. Let's go to USA and speak to Alyssa.
So my big win this week was not comforting myself with food. I still managed to lose this week, which was great. So yeah, I think that was my big one.
Good. So yeah, and you had a massive.
Yes, found out I have to have spine surgery again. Yay! So, anyways, it's yeah. But I was really depressed, and normally I would just eat my feelings, but I didn't, and I'm proud of myself for that.
It's a big win. Well done. And hopefully it all goes well. It's not a big win having to have spinal surgery, but a big win you dealt with it. Okay, so let's go to New Zealand and speak with Paddy. Paddy, before we move on, your post was very brave in the Facebook group today.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a thing. This week, I'm stoked. I did 5 of the 7 days I trained. And so, yeah, that's looking like a good, don't have too bad DOMs. My weights are feeling really good. So it's like a good, I don't know, good sign for the next 11 weeks that hopefully that strength will come back and I can get some lifts. That's sort of how I'm tracking each week as well for like progress, is how many days I get into the gym, because I'm only testing my goal every 4 weeks. So the number I put in to the app is just the same number until I retest again in 4 weeks. So doing it a little bit differently, but it's working out.
So, good. Well, yeah, 5 workouts. It's that's well done.
Yeah, it was fun.
So that is the main thing, to make sure that it is fun. So, now let's speak to Elena.
Hi. My big win this week was that I don't have back pain after deadlifting 60 kg yesterday. Thanks to some really good advice from Gemma McKnight and John Parker, who I just want to give a shout out to because they've helped me a lot with it. And it's just one of those movements I really struggle with. So I'm really happy with that.
And that's a real positive of the JSA, is the support you can get there. And John Parker has made some amazing weight lift gains, especially over the last sort of 6 months I've been watching him, and that guy can lift. So yeah,
and he's quite little.
Good. Well, no back pain, real positive, and keep going. Okay, Charlotte.
Hello. I've actually had a really good week this week. I hit all my sub goals that I set myself this week. My main goal is to run 5k in under 30 minutes. I did it this week at 35, but still got 11 weeks to bring that down as well. But yeah, pound off this week, and 1/4 inch off my hips, thighs and waist. So I'm really happy with that. And yeah, just tracking, food tracking and stuff has been a bit of a pet peeve at the minute. So it's something that I need to work on as well.
Okay, well, that 35 will come down.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
I just need someone to chase me and I'll be fine.
It's
the easiest way.
So I've read some good quotes on that, but I can send them to you.
Yeah.
So Nikki.
My win for this week has been getting enough sleep and not waking up feeling knackered and doing a bit more listening when my body needs sleep. Getting, I think, over 7.5 hours each night, which is brilliant compared to what I used to be. So that's my win, getting enough sleep and recovery.
Good, and I guess that you can relate to Emily on that.
Oh yeah, opposite ends from mine, sorry. Posting that I've got enough, but yeah.
No, good. What's that? Yeah, that's a good win to have, that you've seen that going up. Well done. Okie dokie. So now we're gonna just open that discussion out. Now you've had our updates. It's been quite busy on socials today with, and I mentioned some people that have been seen lots of brave posts with World Mental Health Day. And it shouldn't really be down to one day, and I know it's a whole month, but as we were recording tonight, we obviously decided to go live and give our self-care. But anybody who's got behind that today on social media, for me personally, I think that's really good that we can do that, but we shouldn't forget it. Now I asked the guests before they came on to kind of tell me what their self-care was, just so we keep it really grouped, and there were some real common themes. So the first sort of common theme that came out was about being at the beach or near the sea. And Charlotte, you mentioned that you like to go paddleboarding.
Yes.
And,
yeah. I've got my own inflatable SUP, so I do that a lot. But being down in Cornwall, it's easy because we're surrounded by water down here. But yeah, for getting out on the water, you're just out on the water. There's nobody else there. And it's just kind of my downtime. So yeah, that's kind of normally like my Sunday thing every other weekend. So yeah, it's my kind of like self-care Sunday kind of thing. So yeah, which I'll be doing tomorrow.
So how do you keep that going in the winter?
Lots of layers. Lots and lots of layers. Definitely. And don't fall in.
Good for the core is paddleboarding.
Good for the legs as well. The first couple of times I did it, my thighs were literally on fire. But yeah, it is really good. Like stability and stuff as well. But yeah, it's just nice to be out on the water. It's my happy place.
It's not good for the shins. I tried it in Cornwall about 3 weeks ago and I couldn't get on and it kept smashing up on the shins. So it gave me stress more than anything. But it wasn't my first attempt. But it does.
Yeah, but the kind of ideas in the name though, Pav, it's stand-up paddleboarding, not
yeah, it is,
paddleboarding.
yeah. It's getting to stand up. That's the issue. I was.
Yeah.
So moving on from standing up, some people mentioned about yoga on the paddleboarding.
Yeah, I'm not that good yet.
I did do that last summer. It was amazing, but really hard.
Was that in the harbour, Joe?
Yeah.
I can remember he did it in the harbour, didn't he, in Bristol Harbour?
Yeah.
Did you manage a headstand on it?
I didn't manage a headstand, but I can't do a headstand without all anyway. But I did do a nice back bend and some triangle poses and things. It's actually it's weirdly terrifying doing it on the water, but then you're like, well, actually falling in is less painful in water than what it is falling over in a yoga studio. But I was like, I don't want to get Bristol Harbour water in my eyes with contact lenses and like get horrible like gangrene in my eyes and stuff. So I was not going to fall off that board.
Pink eye.
Moving on to clean water then, Pav. Well, is it clean in the North Sea?
It's as clean as you're going to get, I think, in the UK. Well, I'm saying that Cornwall's beaches are amazing. Some of the beaches that I'm lucky and fortunate to live about 20 minutes walk away are amazing, especially in the summer. And I said to you in the chat earlier, just due to the weather, I haven't been down to the beach as often, and I don't know what it is, but it's about being in cold salt water. I can't explain it. I really can't, and I'm sure there's studies out there by far more intelligent people than me to define it and explain it. But the feeling of a cold wave hitting you and you getting submerged, and then that kind of rush. For me, it's like taking medicine. Honestly, I cannot explain why I feel that way, but that's why, for those who have followed me on Insta for a while, will see me, as often as I can, I will go for a dip in the sea. And it's not a swim, I don't go for a swim. It's literally 10-second, 30-second dip, and that's all I need. And I've tried to replicate that by having cold showers in the morning, but it's not the same. Don't worry, you still get that rush, but it's something about salt water that I just cannot explain it. But that's for me a bit of self-care, and I haven't done it for a couple of weeks, and I can feel it in my body in a way that I need to go. I might go tomorrow morning, do some burpees on the beach, and then go for a dip. There, I've said it.
Live on Facebook. You can't even say, well, that wasn't, didn't come out till Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't know how Charlotte feels, when she's on. Yes, the objective of paddleboarding is to stay up and stay, but I'm sure there's there'll be occasions where you've fallen off, and
too many times.
Numerous times. But when you come off the beach from paddleboarding,
yeah,
I don't know how you feel. Like, what's the overriding kind of feeling?
You do feel really refreshed. It is just like that feeling, like it is just like that kind of washed, kind of like everything's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one, but it is a nice feeling at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I get there for just sitting there sometimes. I don't necessarily need to go in. I'm not against going in. I love going into water, but I can get that just walking down and sitting on the beach, and it's almost quite meditative. Just the noise of the beach and the smells. It's just quite. It's all right. It's a little bit of almost meditation, but quite a meditative place, I feel.
I get that from just putting
I'm
my
with
feet in
Pav
the
on
water.
Yeah, just sticking your feet in, just walking in is enough. Yeah.
I'm with Pav on the cold water. I do open water swimming, so I don't live anywhere near the sea, but I go open water swimming. I'm actually going tomorrow morning to a lake nearby, and it's like Charlotte says, sort of when you come out, it's like indescribable. It just feels, the anticipation of it is horrible.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm dreading tomorrow morning, and like walking into the lake, it will be horrendous because it's 11 degrees. But coming out, it's going to feel amazing.
I'd agree with getting in because I do open water swimming, and it's definitely, it's invigorating. It takes your breath away, and it makes you feel alive. But Emily, you mentioned a different side of the beach, about going to the beach and doing some grounding.
Yeah. So when I go every week, at least once a week, depending on how bad of a week it is. And I walk all the way out to one point, and then on the way back, I walk on the sand, and I make sure I walk just at the line where the water comes in. So I get that sand between my toes and the feeling of, I know it sounds a little bit hippie, but like reconnecting with the earth and like being present between the water and the ground. So you get both of the elements at once. And it just really helps to like, it washes away everything. Like what Nikki was saying, it like kind of just takes everything away. And it's just that hour to myself where I tune everything out. I don't respond to messages. I don't answer phone calls. Don't look at anything. I just listen to a podcast or music, and that's my me time. And it resets my brain, and it resets my mindset for the whole week ahead. And I do it at the beginning of the week. So I do it on a Tuesday to prepare me for the rest of the week, because the back half of my week is crazy generally. So it's really good. I recommend it to everyone. And I'm lucky I live like 15 minutes away from the most beautiful beach ever. So
it's a kind of a common phrase, isn't it? And I know James has coined it, and Lucy Lord, who's part of the well known within the JSA. It's the vitamin C, isn't it? It's how, if someone came to me, what would you prescribe? Cold water, salt it, vitamin C.
Yep.
Good. No, so on to the walking was something that came out from a lot of you as well. And Judith, you mentioned that autumnal walks.
Oh yeah, but I really love this time of year because it's really nice and crisp. You can just get out. It's not too hot. It's just lovely, and the sky's still beautiful and blue. Stick the podcast on, and off you go.
That is there something about it being autumnal that you like?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's from whenever my kids were young and they put the wellies on and they went and ran in the leaves and things like that. And it's just, I think the colours, it's just my favourite season because it's not too hot and it's not too cold.
Who was it that mentioned about walking but with no headphones, just you and was that Nessa?
That was me and this creature who's just interrupted, sorry. Yeah, I have to walk her, and like most of my walks I will have some headphones and have a podcast or music or whatever, but I just find sometimes I just like no distraction, and just like me and the outside, and actually not having to concentrate on anything, so not trying to listen to a podcast or like just the silence. I like it.
Have you ever tried? I've got noise cancelling headphones.
And I've come.
Just go out with nothing, just no noise at all. That's.
I haven't tried that. But yeah, I've got some noise cancelling ones, but I haven't tried it with no noise as such.
I think there's a common thing about coming through about connecting with nature overall from those two subjects, but then maybe moving away from that. What about, so a couple of you mentioned hobbies, and Elena, we're going to ask, can you speak any Spanish yet?
Sí. I've done 1 year of Spanish lessons, but it's just something a bit different because all my other hobbies involve moving or exercising, and I just wanted to do something that's a bit different. And I like learning languages. You know, my first language is Welsh, so I'm already bilingual, and it's just nice to do something a bit different. And it's a good excuse to go to Spain when COVID is over to actually, you know, get some sun and try and speak Spanish. It's just something a bit different, you know, breaks up my week, just a bit of a change.
You mentioned that it allows you to just be fully focused on something.
Yeah, something, just forget about everything else, you know. I've exercised and stuff for years, and it's just part of my routine now, and it just means I focus on something completely different. You know, I don't think about what's happening in the world, because you have to focus your mind so much on learning another language. It just shifts the focus a bit, just for 2 hours a week, just a bit of a change.
What other languages do you speak?
Welsh. I'm okay with English. And French. I'm pretty good at French. But yeah, Welsh is my first language, so it just makes it a little bit easier to learn another language when you have more than one already, I think.
So hobbies was quite a big subject, and I'm aware of time. But Paddy, you mentioned something again that was a bit different about your painting.
Yeah. So I'll try to be quick. I studied painting for 5 years at uni, doing fine arts with honours. And so I'm lucky enough to have a studio and quite a good art gallery in town. And I try to get 1 day a week where I can go in and just paint like the entire day and just listen to music and just like completely like take myself out of the world and put myself into something that I'm creating. And quite often, like, I'll forget I'm even listening to music, or the music will stop and I've just been like painting for like an hour, just like unaware of anything around me. And I think it's quite a cool sort of exercise just to turn off so much of like the parts of your brain that are constantly spinning and worrying about things, and just completely focusing on that one thing.
I can't paint for love nor money. I can't draw. So yeah, but that's really cool that it can take you away for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
I think some of the best or most notorious artists in the world were known for not eating or drinking, or being locked away for days coming up with their masterpieces.
That's a good way for a CFD, isn't it?
One way.
Nice link, Paddy.
Yeah.
So now, before we move on from painting, Rob, I know that you like to paint, but in a different way.
Oh man, you're outing my nerdiness. So yeah, I mean, I paint miniatures, miniature models. I have since I was like 11. I used to run a business actually, commission painting. So it's something I do at least half an hour a day of, and it is just literally like my meditative time. Everything else fades away, and it's just me, what I'm working on.
Cool. So yeah, similar stuff. See Paddy smiling at that. So
I totally get it. And even when Elena was talking about Spanish and just like parts of your brain turning off because you're so focused on that one thing, it's true.
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally.
And then I guess something that's along that hobby craft would be your old lady hobby, Alyssa.
Yes, my old lady hobby. I like to sew. I sew like couture dresses, and I sew vintage style dresses and things like that. But my self-care used to be running, but obviously that's on hold at the moment. But I think the thing, I mean, no matter, as long as I'm creating something, I think that's what does it for me, because yes, you can really just dive into it and not focus on anything else. And it kind of helps you get out of, if you're in a bad mindset. And I think the thing that I ultimately crave the most is the sense of accomplishing something. I have a toddler at home. My entire life is pretty much to be his best friend right now. So to be able to do anything for myself or put something out there that is just me and not, people say, oh, your contribution is your child. And I said, no, I need my own contribution, because I think that's important, so that you have your own sense of self. And so really for me, it's that sense of accomplishment. Even with running, I mean, running sucks, but at the end you're like, oh my God, I just ran 15 miles. That's amazing. And you feel amazing. And so I think that that's a lot of what I do.
No, running does suck. I hate running.
For sure. But the end is amazing. I mean, you're crossing the finish line in the race, and just, I do miss running. And I mean, for little parts, it's not bad, but yeah, really for me, it's creating something or accomplishing something. And I think that it's a way to zone out on a task and get that sort of mental boost that you've done something. And I think that's what it is for me.
Brilliant. So kind of crossing over from hobbies, like a kind of crossover from hobbies and to our next subject was writing, was book reading. And Katie, you dropped this into the chat first of all. So you're an English teacher, so that's good that you are reading.
Yeah, I mean, I should be, because I'm an English teacher, so if I don't read, then I'm quite hypocritical. But because I live obviously in up northwest in Manchester, where it's quite grim, I don't have a lovely beach to escape to, which I'm so jealous of all your lovely walks by the sea. I really miss the sea. So I escape via reading to different worlds and places, and it's exactly what Eleanor and Paddy and Rob were saying. It just, you focus on something else that's not your life, or like what's happened that day, and I love it. So I'm reading Jamaica In, which is set in Cornwall at the moment. I don't rate it though, so don't read that one. But she wrote Rebecca as well, which was good. Daphne du Maurier. So she wrote Rebecca, which was really good. I'd recommend that one. Yeah, that's my thing.
So that just kind of just takes you away into another world that you can just pretend that you're there almost.
I don't want to be there. There's like all sorts of horrible things going on, but yeah, sometimes I want to be there.
You'll have to come down to the Jamaica Inn, Katie. Down in is up at Bodmin. It's amazing.
Yes, is it there?
Yeah, it's up on.
I'm there.
Middle of nowhere, but it's amazing. It's a proper old worldy pub with like cobbles outside, and you can actually sleep in the rooms and stuff as well. Haunted, majorly, but yeah, amazing.
Yeah, well,
place.
Joss Merlin's just popped his clogs there, so he's probably haunting it. So. Yeah, and Aunt Patience as well. Anyway, yeah.
Randomly, I'm virtually sitting outside Jamaica Inn on my virtual Land's End to John O'Groats race at the moment. I'm literally at the junction to Jamaica Inn. That's so weird.
Full world.
Weird connection.
Who was mentioned about reading? Anybody else?
I agree with Katie. It is my escape. It just doesn't matter what kind of book it is. For me, it has to be like not realistic. It has to be that like not nonfiction. So like the self-help and the fitness books and stuff, they're great, but it has to be the fantasy, the romance, the another planet, another time period, whatever. And you get lost in it. And then you start thinking about what it would be like to be there. So it gives you that escapism.
I'm one of those weird ones. I read multiple books at a time. I always have a non-fiction and a fiction on the go, and I love the non-fiction for it is another world, and it's it's a fly on the wall in whatever that is. But the fiction. The fiction is like that. The non-fiction, then it's the same kind of learning. It's just switching your brain on. You're really thinking and concentrating, and you learn. It's constant learning. I love it. I do the same. I'm a massive bookworm as well. Love it.
So moving on from readers to writers then, And I'm going to speak with Rob, who talked about journaling.
Yeah, so I spend, I don't know what, like an hour a day, probably just journaling first thing in the morning, just like 3 A4 pages. And I just literally brain dump whatever's flying in my head, however I feel. Like, I even ask myself the question, how do I feel? And explore what I'm actually feeling at that time, what's frustrating me, what's good, what's bad, what's coming up, what am I anxious about. I started doing it about 5 months ago when lockdown is it's about April, actually, about mid-April. I'd been made redundant, a relationship had ended, and I was just like, I just need to, it's lockdown, couldn't see anyone. I just needed to get a lot of stuff out, and I just turned to journaling, and it's really, really good for me, my mental state. So if anyone wants to give it a go, I'd recommend.
Joe, I know that you're a blogger, and from reading them, I guess they're a bit of a journal for you at times.
Yeah, and actually putting writing as my self-care feels really ironic, given that I started the blog at the start of lockdown because I was struggling with writing for work so much and was finding writing so stressful and hating it and not enjoying it. So I started the blog just as a way to get myself writing regularly in a very free, just about random nonsense way. But actually what it's turned into is my way of kind of thinking stuff over and figuring stuff out. And when I've got something on my mind, actually getting it down and kind of just releasing it almost, so it's no longer being chewed over in my head and dealing with the kind of worry about opening up about stuff. So yeah, it's become really, really important. And actually, while I was in hospital, I wasn't able to write a blog, but the amount of times when I was dealing with stuff, I was like, right, okay, write a waffle is what I call them. And so I was laying there in the hospital bed, kind of in my head, writing my post and posting it like mentally, just to kind of park that stuff. And then I was able to stop stressing about it. So yeah, it's been a surprising addition to the self-care tools for me, which I really enjoy doing.
And I can relate to that, having started to write an email every day, and I never intended it to be that way either, Joe. It was like, it was always intended to get more subscribers or get more people to give me some money. But actually I found it being that I'm writing for me and first and foremost. And I would never thought of me as a writer, and I find myself enjoying it, and actually it's become the first thing I do most days. So yeah, definitely writing is, and it's something I get go quite deep into, and I find that just letting a whole load of stuff roll, and sometimes it's not what I end up sending, but I've written a whole load of other stuff in the background. So yeah, writing is something that I would recommend as well. And then, so meditation, I think, is something that is highly under. I wrote on my post this morning about it being highly under practiced and under prescribed. And Nikki, I know that when I first started following you, I loved the fact that you were talking about meditation, and Nikki sent me the copy of the Daily Stoic, so linking back to reading. Oh, look at that, right on cue. Yeah, talk to us about meditation, Nikki.
Oh, I don't know how much at all. I don't know. For me, it comes from trying to calm my thoughts, my brain. I am project manager by trade, by education, and I'm constantly thinking, what's the next step? What do I need to make sure that step happens? Are there any issues that are going to come ahead? How do I get past them issues? How do I stop them issues happening? That goes at 100 miles an hour constantly. So, and I think as a result of that, I get some anxiety and I stress and I overthink it out, and my brain's going a million miles an hour. And to meditate is really, it's difficult. I'm still finding it difficult. I've not got there yet, but I'm making myself do it. Some days I make myself do it for longer. Some days I can only manage 3 minutes before I need to get up and out of the house. But it sort of grounds me, similar to the beach. I mean, lots of people said it is grounding, and it really makes me sit and think and just let thoughts go and relax. What I like doing with the Daily Stoic, it's a page a day and it's Stoicism. I read that, I think about it and then I'll sit and meditate, and I've got that in the back of my head and trying to yeah, expel some of this. I don't know what else to say. It's a funny one. I know he's definitely good, and it's also good for sort of streamlining thoughts and stopping the noise, I guess, behind everything else. Does that make sense? I don't think I've explained that very well.
I'm gonna order it.
Do it. Definitely do it. I really enjoy it. Definitely recommend it.
I'm doing the same
I
thing.
got mine last week. Mine arrived last week, and I've been sitting in the morning having breakfast on my own, reading my page. It's great.
Yeah, it's part of my routine. It sort of calms me ready for the day. I sit, I read, I do that, then my mobility and do a little stretch, and then I'm off. And I feel like I've sort of calmed myself before I get manic in my head and going 100 miles an hour. So yeah, sort of sets me off quite nicely for the day.
So there's lots of people, but yeah, 1 page a day, that's all it is.
I'm a terrible reader. I just don't. But I heard a podcast the other day, and they said, I think it was Paul Mort's podcast, and he had a
That's
guest.
how short some of them are. It's tiny. There's nothing much there. That's how short some of them are. Excuse my scribbles.
Yeah. And they said, if you pick up a book with the intention of saying, right, I'm going to read 5-6 books a year, then you probably won't do it. But if you pick up a book and say, I'm going to read a chapter every night, and that just one chapter, then you will probably you could potentially read 30 books in the year.
I read a minimum of 10 pages a day, and that's what I read every day without fail. And that adds up to about a book a month. I think that's a good, accessible way to do it. I got that from bestseller.
Yeah, I like that. I started it at the start of the year, so it's similar to what Lauren did for a challenge, but I'm doing a book a week roughly, and I'm just about on track for it. But yeah, it's reading before I go to bed. It's reading 10 or so pages. Putting like a daily page read, I think helps you if you want to move through books and do that. Definitely.
As cheesy as it sounds, but obviously it is JSA related. You get a lot of people coming in and they say, right, I want to lose 30 inches or I want to lose 10 kilograms straight away. If you're aiming for your end goal straight away, then you're kind of making it harder for yourself.
It's too far away.
Aim for the first inch, repeat, or aim for the first kilogram and repeat.
Yeah, exactly. Aim for 10 minutes, aim for a page.
Yeah.
I'd say
go from there.
It's the thing about the Daily Stoic is it's only 1 page, and it's actually more around the meditation side of it than reading, and helping you to clarify your thoughts. And I guess from what I've learned from reading the first kind of 15 pages is that when I come back to it next year and I start to read the first page again, it will have a completely different meaning than it did a year ago. The meditation is my thing for self-care, and it's something I went to a mentor for every week for the last 18 months prior to lockdown. And what I've learned about it is 18 months is still a drop in the ocean with meditation. It's like a lifelong practice. But the way somebody explained it to me was, you don't turn your brain off during the day. Even when you sleep, your brain doesn't turn off because you dream. So there's one point that you can actually turn your brain off, and that's through meditation. And I was like, yeah, that makes so much sense, because we rest our bodies, but why do we not rest our brains? And
I like that.
That's what helped me with putting that into practice. And there's some days I fall off the wagon and I don't do it, and then there's other days and I have to really concentrate on it. And I might set the intention of doing 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but quite often it's longer. And it can be quite peaceful, but it's something you have to go and learn how to practice and do more research and more reading on it. And but I would say that if there's one person you want to follow, if you're going to start it, is to follow Jay Shetty. And that's somebody that will bring you will help bring you peace. But yeah, I think that's kind of my 10 pence worth on self-care is to do whatever you're doing. It sounds like the common theme that we had was to do it regularly, and to keep doing it, and to remind yourself that that's what you were doing. So yeah, I feel that we've had that's a brilliant episode to bring our listeners on World Mental Health Day. And thank you so much to all of our guests, because that was really informative. And I hope our listeners have all got something out of it. I hope for our Facebook Live viewers, who I keep forgetting are there, so hi. And we'll get the episode published and posted early next week. And we will be back the same time next week, but we probably won't be back Facebook Live every week, because we want you to actually start listening to the podcast. So yeah, thank you ever so much to everybody. And just as a plug, live, everybody, James Smith episode will be out tomorrow. Part 1 will be out tomorrow. And if you've not listened to it, it's part of World Mental Health Day. Paul Greenland or Gin Lab and Fitness episode went out yesterday, and we covered mental health as well. So please go and give all of those a listen, and we will speak to you next week. Thank you very much.